We're joined by NYU history professor Ruth Ben-Ghiat, the author of Strongmen from Mussolini to the Present. Welcome, and what do you see as the link here between this conspiracy theory, the hate against certain minority groups as well as Jews in the theory, and really a rising embrace of authoritarian-style politics in the United States?
Yeah, these are the purpose of these conspiracy style theories is like the idea of being replaced by others, is to evoke really powerful feelings of annihilation, of extinction, and also the feeling you're being manipulated. And the idea is to get people into this survivalist mentality that it's us or them. And the tragedy is that with these, shooters, that whole string of them, that means arming yourself, and they can do that because of our gun policies, and going out and killing as many non-Christians and non-whites as possible. So, but these are fascist ideas. They literally go back to fascism. Before Hitler, Mussolini was talking about how white Christian civilization was being submerged, that was the word he used, by too many people from Africa and Asia, non-whites, having too many babies, all the way up to Viktor Orban, who tries to keep out, non-white immigrants and talks about that we should only have white Christian Hungarian babies. And the GOP, the CPAC is meeting there right now. So these ideas that Tucker Carlson and the GOP have mainstreamed and accepted, they are unvarnished fascist ideas.
Yeah, it's very important the way you put that into context, because sometimes when we talk about this level of hate or violence, it almost sounds like something that only the criminal element or the worst element of a society would condone. And yet, any knowledge of world history shows just how many people can go along with it. But outside of the core violent actors and coup plotters, et cetera, there's that wider circle of accommodationists, and they need a reason. They need a justification for the genocide or the attack or the breaking of the rules. And that really filters into what Carlson and others are doing. I want to play one other piece we have where Trump's own FBI director, if people want to look at it politically, or the stats, if you want to look at it numerically, show right-wing and white supremacist violence is the greatest domestic threat, greater than, for example, foreign terror, which at a different point in our history was also much higher and quite a great threat. But Mr. Carlson uses the rhetorical questioning style to let his audience answer these questions and feel like they're doing some work when they're not doing the facts or the journalism. Take a look at this.
If you were to assemble a list, a hierarchy of concerns, of problems this country faces, where would white supremacy be on the list?
The top domestic violent extremist threat we face comes from racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocate for the superiority of the white race.
Professor?
Yeah, Tucker Carlson is a master propagandist, as that New York Times investigation showed. He has featured great replacement theories, 400 times since 2016. And he shows up with he's very dangerous because he shows up with his fresh face and his suit and his tie looking all mainstream. And then he spouts this demagoguery. He really is a fascist demagogue who contributes to political violence in our country.
Yeah, and as you say, that mainlining is vital. And as your work and others have shown, effective propaganda is a central feature of the rise of these kind of movements. It doesn't happen well without the messaging. I'm running out of time, but final thought. Yeah. It looks like you had something to say.
Oh, just that, these ideas of that people elites are manipulating you are circulating and becoming more brazen. There was a candidate for Minnesota Secretary of State who just published a campaign ad that showed Soros, George Soros as a Jewish puppet manipulating people. So it's all related, and it's all become part of daily communication among the GOP.
Yeah, and as you say, all of that justification, the idea that the people who are on the attack are actually the aggrieved, which brings you back to, of course, the big lie. The people who genuinely believe that they're living under an illegitimate president who lost the race are people who are more inclined to do things and see their crimes as civil disobedience or direct action, which they are not. Professor, thanks for joining us. I hope you'll come back.